Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how I reball these Z15 cords. This is the easiest way that I've found to do it, so let's get right into it. So first what we're going to need is we're going to need some, helping them out there. Then we're going to get our low melt solder, because this solder is such high temp on these chips and lead free. It's super hard to get it off if you just are trying to wick it off. So what I do is I just mix the solder in here with the low melt. Get it all mixed in here. Make sure it's all mixed in with that lead free. There we go. See how it's all shiny still? That's what we want, because I used to go ahead and I used to wick this all off, which took forever and use a lot of wick. So my method now is just, because it's, look, this stuff's still liquid. See that? See it's still shiny like that? All I do is just wipe it off. All that low melt just pulls right off of there. Now there might be a little bit left in here. Still needs mixed in. And I just go ahead and just wipe it right off, just like that. Look how easy that was. I would spend like 20 minutes trying to get all that solder off and not heat the chip up too much, but that is super quick, easy. And I just take some alcohol, wipe it off like this, get all that solder off of there. There we go. It's like brand new. It's perfect. And that's it. That's all I do. Okay. All right, now that we got that done, pull it out of here. Knock all that leaded low melt off. Okay. Look how nice that is. All right, let me go ahead and clean this up with some alcohol. Turn over, make sure there's no crack on that core. All looks pretty good. Sometimes they crack when you take them off because of the heat. Because the solder on these melts at 210 degrees. You have to get the board up to that temperature to be able to get them off. So these things get really hot when you pull them off with the lead-free solder. So there we go. Now I have my homemade jig here. Well, this isn't homemade, but you can buy these on AliExpress or somewhere like that. And the chip just sits down in here like so. And put that on there. Turn this the right way. Get it straight. Okay. So there's a little bit of bow to my stencil here. So what I do is I take some type of flat blade, something like this. And I put this there, some paste there. Take my spreader, push down just to make sure it's flat. And then I go ahead and spread it out. Just keep it down flat so that it gets a nice even coat. A little bit too much paste on there. Something like that. All right, there we go. Now carefully try not to move it around too much. All right, there we go. Get the chip out. There we go. It is a little heavier in a couple spots. It's not too bad. I've never had a problem with it being a little bit heavier on one side or the other, but go ahead and get my air gun out here. Warm it up real slow. Too hot too fast and it will crack this chip. Learned that from experience. You can see my mat lifting up, that's why it tilts like that. And when that gets hot, it lifts up. You start to see the solder melt. Go across like that. Work your way across. There we go. Let it cool down for a second. So that's the best way I found to do it. These things can be pretty difficult at times. Because a lot of times they die when you're doing this. And I had a lot of those happen when I started out doing this, and yeah, it wasn't fun. So, because you never know if well, maybe you didn't solder on the board correctly, or maybe something else happened, or maybe the board's bad, or maybe this, that, and the other thing. But this is the best way I found to successfully transfer Asic chips on these Z15. So, yeah, there's not much else to it. I'm gonna go ahead and solder it back on the board. So I'll probably make a video about desoldering and soldering these onto the board themselves. But yeah, that's just some quick tips and of how I reball these Asic chips. So, all right, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.